What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fight Night, the only show on YouTube that you should be watching. In today's video, we have a fan favorite. We have a Jiu-Jitsu black belt on one hand, and on the other hand, we have a D1 wrestler. I didn't know wrestlers could have any more than one D. But first, we have this preliminary bout between a Daisy Fresh brown belt, I wonder who's gonna win this, and a Lloyd Irving black belt, I think. I don't really know. He's good though. All that and more coming up in this episode of Jedi's Fight Night. Roll the intro.
Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, you matter what.
Welcome back to the best channel on YouTube, guys. It's your boy Jedi. Today we got something special for you guys. You guys really seem to love these Jiu-Jitsu versus wrestling matchups, and honestly, I can totally see why. They make for some awesome, exciting, action-packed fights. Now, all these matches were pulled from the smaller channel, Sbectrum. They throw on these no-gi events for cash money for all you weirdos out there that like to watch people grapple each other no-gi. I'll link their channel down below if you want to pay them a visit. All right, enough foreplaying around. Let's crack right into the action. Alright, welcome to the first fight of the video. In this corner, we have Kieran Kichuk. He is a black belt out of Team Lloyd Irving in Toronto, Canada. Boy likes to play a little bit of open guard, and he appears to be pretty decent at it. And in this corner, Jacob Couch from Pedigo Submission. That's right, he's Andrew Wiltie's buddy. I wonder who's gonna win this match. Now, Couch is a brown belt, as well as being a delightful piece of furniture that you can sit on to watch TV. But the most important thing that you need to know about this Midwestern boy is his pressure. He's got some nasty pressure, which we will soon find out. And right off the bat, black on black goes for a takedown Uno reverse guard sit. Classic bait and switch over here to keep his opponents guessing. Our boy Couch grabs his head and uses that to come up to his guard for the top position. And here he grabs a body lock and uses that to flatten Kieran's shoulders on the mat, pretty much nullifying his open guard. Because he's up on his toes, driving his weight forward, he's able to create enough space to slide his knees over Black's guard and go straight into mounts. We're only 30 seconds into this match and it's already looking really bad for Black. Here Couch tries to pummel his leg over for knee on belly, but since he doesn't have an underhook, boy Black is able to turn into him. He then frames, creating space to pull his knees up, retaining guard, and pulls down Couch's head, looking to elevate his hips and attack his legs, but Couch scrambles out of it and the position is reset. This is something I find myself doing all the time, especially from my opponent's open guard. Whenever I'm not comfortable with the position, I just get myself out of there and start over fresh. Daisy fresh, you might say. As soon as they restart, Kieran grabs Couch's knee and goes shin on shin, looking to pummel his leg in for single leg X. But boy Blue is keeping his distance with that left arm, and as Black tries to elevate the hips, he's able to pummel his foot inside, shutting it down. He then pummels a left underhook and looks to cut his knee across for a guard pass, but Black is wise to it and steps on his hip to shut him out. Couch decides to say, "F it, try a leg lock." Kieran is wise to it, pummeling his foot behind the knee to prevent the foot lock and almost coming up for the sweep, but then deciding to bail on the sweep because butt scooting is way cooler, right? He goes back to the well on that shin on shin guard, but Couch has his number dialed in, posting out on his hands, pummeling his foot in, and once he finds his balance, he brings his right knee behind Black's hips, driving his weight low to apply max pressure. He has successfully flattened out boy Black's shoulders on the mat and is using his double underhooks to suck his hips into him to keep him from getting space and hipping out. Cue the 3-second time lapse. Here, boy Black is stiff-arming boy Blue's neck and hip, keeping distance, and because Blue is not turned into him, it's really hard to fight those frames. But he tries to fight it for a second before he decides to bail on it in an attempt to square up. He realizes they're on the edge of the mat, so he decides to get out of there and reset in the center. And now that we're halfway through the match and nobody has scored a submission, points are live, meaning the next guard pass, takedown, sweep, whatever, we'll score points. Here, Kieran scoots in and uses his butterfly hooks to try to elevate Blue's hips for an attack. I don't know if you caught that, but right here, Blue blocks Kieran's shoulder, keeping him from getting close enough and flattening his shoulder on the mats, allowing him to drop to his knees and apply pressure. Honestly, did anybody not see that one coming? And because points are now live, both of these boys are being a little more careful, a little more cautious, a little more patient, and you know what that means. 3-second time lapse. As Black squares up his hips, Blue Stripe counters by going for the body lock. He then kicks his left leg straight to clear the butterfly hook and pass into half guard. He then drives his knee up against Kieran's hips, steps over his legs to smash him, and steps over with his other leg to the other side, circling for the guard pass. And I want to take a second to appreciate the beauty of this pass. A lot of people don't work smash passes like this, and they'd call this just a strength move, but no, there's actual technique there. Learn your smash passes, guys. They are gonna come in so clutch. Kieran is framing here, trying to pull that right knee in and retain guard, so Couch steps over his legs looking to smash, but he is countered by a guillotine attempt, forcing him to take his pressure off and giving up side control. From here, Kieran would love to have a little bit of breathing space to set up an attack, but he doesn't, so he throws his right leg over Couch's shoulder, looking to isolate his left arm, which is honestly kind of a white belt mistake because his bottom leg is in between Couch's hips, allowing him to smash through and pass into side control again. And this should illustrate that it's never too late to blunder a silly mistake, especially when you're under pressure, down on points. I mean, why do you think Khabib's opponents look so bad?
He needs some milk!
And now Kieran's in a pretty tough predicament. He's down 3-0 with about 30 seconds left, plus he's got a sweaty country boy on top of him. It's not looking good. Here he steps out and bridges with everything that he has. Somehow this works. It gives him enough space to throw his legs up into guard. He goes straight into a triangle attempt. As he looks to lock up the triangle, Couch goes, man, I'm buck hay for a living. This ain't nothing. Picks his ass up. He's like, buckle your seatbelt, son. We're going for a little ride. But as anybody who has tried to carry a grown man's body weight on his neck before, he realizes this boy is a little heavy. So he starts setting him down gently and delicately. Such a nice guy. Black hooks his leg to keep from getting picked up again, but for some reason decides to go for Couch's head. Couch gives it one last push, getting out of there right as the timer goes off. It's not often that you almost see a come from behind victory like that. Those last 30 seconds of the match, grade A. Alright guys, you know these videos take me a while to edit, so if you appreciate the effort that I put into them to make them as enjoyable as possible, consider subscribing with the notification bell turned on. We're trying to hit 10 subscribers by the end of the year. I believe in you guys. Let's do this. Alright guys, in the moment you have all been waiting for, we have in this corner our black belt, Austin Baker. Very seasoned competitor. His jiu-jitsu and especially his movement is truly next level, as you will soon find out. And in this corner we have our D1 wrestler, Mikey England. Not only does he have wrestling, but he has an entire country in his last name. What you should expect from Mike is setting up takedowns from odd positions, some nasty, persistent follow-through on those takedowns, and some A-tier scrambling. Alright guys, the moment you have all been waiting for, brought to you by iMovie's stock lower third animated text. Here our black belt, Frosted Tips, enters the clinch with his hips low, probably trying to bait a shot, but then sits into guard. And you can tell he's got a decent open guard that he believes in because he's leaning forward and being proactive as opposed to laying back and waiting for his guard to be smashed. Magic Mikey decides to send it, looking for a cartwheel pass, but doesn't get vertical enough and gets his leg caught up by the butterfly hook. And Austin immediately pounces on the opening, locking up a front headlock and getting up to his feet, looking to snap him down and look for a choke or a takedown. But our wrestler friend ain't tripping. He's put in his 10,000 hours fighting out of positions just like this one, and as they pull themselves off to the edge, the ref stops them and restarts them in the middle. And as they're back in the middle and get back after it, Austin enters the clinch with that low hips, but kind of has this casual, nonchalant jiu-jitsu stance, contrasted with Magic Mike, the wrestler, who has that low power
wrestling stance.
And here we have a good old-fashioned shoving match. As Frosted Tips steps back in, he's standing pretty tall, which is a mistake here. As our wrestler friend steps in, barely even needing to change levels, snatches up a single leg, lifts his foot to the ceiling, and trips out his other leg, Khabib style. Austin immediately turns away from him, trying to get his base underneath him and get away, but that D1 wrestling is starting to kick in here, with Mike snatching up a body lock and staying behind Austin, just like that one guy that Michael Phelps raced. But here he makes a crucial mistake, letting go of the body lock, which allows our boy Frosted Tips to turn right into him and lock up closed guard. But our boy Austin, as always, has a plan. He turns to his side, grabbing wrestler boy's arm. He then gets up on his hand and uses that to drive his hips forward, grabbing Mike's elbow to keep him from posting and getting the sweep. Mike immediately turns to his back, trying to escape. Austin decides to use that strength plus technique
Power combo,
driving his forearm across Mike's face for a face crank, allowing him to throw his hooks in for full back control. He then switches his grip for the choke, but as he does, Mike turns away from him, trying to belly down. But he's able to ride the wave and stay in the saddle. Here he grabs Mike's wrist and walks his hand high over his left shoulder, looking to lock in the choke again, Gable gripping his hands together. This is honestly a pretty brutal face crank, but Mike has got some fight in him. Here he's able to turn away from Austin slightly, driving his hips to the ground, using the floor to block Austin from coming up and keeping his hooks in. And after some work, he's able to pull off Austin's left hook, forcing him to bail on back control, allowing him to get up to his feet. What an escape. This is one heck of a match. Smash like if you haven't already. From the collar tie, Austin looks for a cheeky foot sweep. He then switches it up, going foot sweep to single leg attempt, but Mike's just doing a good job of keeping his hips far away. And here Frosted Tips switches it up again, faking a shot and going for a guard pull. For all you guard players out there, if you just pull guard the same way every time, you're gonna become predictable, and it's gonna be relatively easy to time your guard pull and pass you, which is why it can be helpful to have little tricks like these. As Magic Mike is trying to smash his opponent on the mat, Austin's doing a good job of keeping himself upright by basing on his hand and controlling the distance with that collar tie. Here Mike dives in, hooking Austin's top leg and looking for a flop pass, but he ends up in Austin's half guard. But Austin's got a little trick up his sleeve. Here he grabs Mike's lat and pushes on his hip, turning into him hard to bridge him over and coming up on top. Moves like these are all about timing, and he clearly has his timing down. Did I mention Mike was a wrestler yet? Yeah, he tries to muscle his way going belly down, but Austin actually lets him do this, transitioning behind him as he does. As Magic Mike is fighting to get up to his base, he's not really protecting his neck, which almost comes back to bite him. Here Austin locks up a super tight rear naked choke, and Mike's barely able to throw his shoulder into him and get out of it. As he does, they break and get back up to their feet. Here Mike hits a snap down throw by single leg attack. Austin's able to sprawl out on it, tries to counter with a Uchimata, but his counter is countered with another throw by single leg attack. This time Magic Mike uses it to get to the back. He then brings his right leg in front of his opponent, looking to chop out his base, and immediately converts it to a body lock throw. He has done well here, gotten the takedown points, and looks to be taking our black belts back, but Austin McFly Hair sits back into half guard. He then looks for that cheeky little reversal he hit the other time, but Mike is wise to it this time, so he hooks the hip to create space and replaces his hand with a butterfly hook, which he uses to sweep him up over his head and into mount. And you gotta take a second to appreciate these fluid transitions here. Austin has been very composed this entire time against a very strong opponent and has put on display some outstanding jiu-jitsu. Alright guys, you know what's up. It is time for the long anticipated DM of the week. Today's DM comes from Smiley Face. Our YouTube channel is amazing. Aw shucks. I'm watching them so I can get better and beat my brother in jiu-jitsu. Honestly, Smiley Face, that is what jiu-jitsu is all about. Y'all can send me a DM at Jedi_himself. I'll link that down below, and if I find it funny or interesting, I will feature it in the next video. And yes, you are correct. I did not upload a video last Friday. I'm sorry. I don't really have an excuse. Just kind of wanted to take a break. But that is why you get this high effort, really fun video. Now I do have an announcement. The day after this video goes live is my birthday, so why don't you show me some love down in the comments below. If you guys are new around here, my name's Jedi. I make the best gosh darn videos on all of YouTube, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. If you like the video, like the video. I will talk to all of you in the next one. Remember, stay consistent, and you can do whatever you want to do. Bye.